Hey, Thomas, this is just an example um, of how illusions or artificial worlds generate problems and then attempt to come up with a fix from what it is that they do as a result of the damage that is the result of what they do in the past, that they now have to come up with a solution in the future that is artificial. So here's an example, right? When I went to the University of California, Irvine, I majored in environmental engineering under the banner of social ecology. Social ecosystems, cells that communicate with other cells, okay? So I took a number of different classes, okay? But one of them was called alternative technologies, okay? Which means, hey, folks, we're building artificial war machines so that we can play AI war games, Star Wars videos. As a result of playing AI Star Wars video games, we generate an awful lot of toxic pollution into the ocean. So we're going to develop some alternative technologies. So I read a book about some of those alternative technologies that were being generated through the minds of those that were generating them. And they came up with a term that I read in the book. And guess what that name was, Thomas? A xenobot. Okay, which means they develop a xenobot, which means now the xenobot is going to use what is toxic as a form of food. Okay. It's not funny. Bots. Chatbots, xenobots, robots, right? And so what I realized just a little while ago when I thought I'd just make the short version of this is when I was a child, Thomas, I was very aware of what was going on. I had my shield up. It was already activated because I knew what it was, the job that I had to perform with a level of precision that would boggle most people's minds unless they understand the mathematical firing order of the original tones, which is true. It's rebuilding father and mother from the ground up and the top down. And where we meet, that job is finished, which is called a rebuild, which would otherwise be called a reclamation project, reclaiming what's been lost. So I realized as a child, everything that I'm going to experience in the future, I do not want to experience this. That's why when I was 7 years old, standing on that foundation out in the middle of the San Fernando Valley, when they tore down all the orange groves to put track homes into Northridge, California, I don't want to do this. I want to go home. I'm already at home, but I don't want to do this. So I acknowledged to myself that it fell on deaf ears. Those ears were my ears, because I chose to do this mission. Okay? To serve the one, the first spirit, the first star, the eternal spirit of fire, the eternal spirit of pure absolute love. So I realized I'm in recovery mode. I got to recover. Part of me, this is key, Thomas. I realized that I lost a part of myself as God consciousness. I lost a part of myself of what I was once aware of, that I was giving love to, that fell. Oh, so father and mother fell. I got to rebuild the father and the mother arc in order to remember my parent. The first parent, the first star, the first template, the core encryption code, the first template of Eartha, the original grid. Okay. The first network interface, actually, of the cosmos. Cosmina Cosmai. So that means you know how to build a network from the inside out. as it first began. Arcs, building arcs, arcing spheres, Mama's Three Spheres logo, 3 waves, right? The first pillar of light, the first line of communication, the first spiral, the first spin of the first volcano. Yeah. So everything that I experienced that I share with all of you in all the videos that I did is that record. So I realize I'm going to experience things in the future I don't want to experience, but in order to be able to communicate to you right now at this moment, that was the navigation route I had to take, because you know what it means to sequence something in your cellular recorder, right? That means that everything that I experienced, I had to experience in order to get right where I'm at right now, because you know how nuclear sequences, the next experience, the next circuit that gets completed by virtue of the relationship that we have with all the others, operating within a grid, operating plugged into a motherboard. So I experienced all kinds of things that I didn't want to experience when I was 7 years of age, but I had to experience them because I'm navigating a course, which is navigating a chart, which is navigating, as I call myself sometimes, I'm a Star Trek navigator. Charting the course, which is the pathway, right? Yeah, so I experienced a lot of things that I was experiencing directly. And what is the importance of that? Because in order to transmute something and rebuild something that got perverted, then I have to experience how it got perverted in order to correct it. Otherwise, like a gentleman that I met down in Lapoihoy, he doesn't know the difference between what he is and what he isn't with an AI. So then he is what that is. Because he was perfectly happy believing that the reality that he's living in is the only one that's possible to experience, because his mind, as he explained it to me, doesn't want to expand beyond the world that he lives in now. How about creating a different world to live in? So now you're into the creative quotient potential, which is the fire. On fire to learn, on fire to create more of what I'm giving love to, which is different than last. So we're always on fire playing music with the first tones of building the first network, rebuilding the first network. So we're experiencing what love is wherever we go. Because love loves to build networks so that all atoms, which are all seeds that are growing, are experiencing the first seed. The first silver and gold seeded star. Yeah. So that's why everything that I charted is like a cell, a living cell that is self-aware, is rebuilding itself to recover everything that I lost as a result of a fall, which is total recall. Recall the parts of ourselves that we lost, which are fragments, to experience being whole again, like whole pie. 12. 3 times 4 plus is 7, right? The prime numbers, the complex number space. So when I was a child, I keep it simple. I am what love is in living spirit. Wherever you find love and living spirit, you'll find us. So we're always on fire. And that's a firewall. And that's a shield. And that is natural spiral protection. And that's what allows us to perform high precision timing factors as it relates to what is a factor, as in RH, between negative and positive ion charges to experience 0 degrees of separation, pH 0, no PSI yet. I'm not feeling any pressure. Wow, I'm feeling light as a feather. The light, the pure light, joined as sound and light as one, is experiencing the eternal breath of the first flame of the Dhamma Amaraya, which is an eternal state of peace, experiencing the first I of Ra. Ra, ya, ya.